Hi, guys. Welcome to Chakra Sessions. I'm your host, Polly Jo Labbé, here as part of Star Nation's radio network being broadcast through BeLive TV and Facebook. Good morning. Today is a really interesting day because we're talking about how do we heal our energy to a fuller vibration. And I am so excited to have this spiritual conversation today. My team has been sort of downloading a whole bunch of information to make things easier and whatnot. So I'm excited for that. So my goodness, there's a whole bunch of information here about the Star Nations magazine already. And I'm going to put this part up first. Here's my link for my services and the products that I might be talking about during the show, because some of that will definitely come up. And it's at trinityhealingsanctuaries.com. And I love working with people in person or by distance because that's how my work runs. I can do it wherever I am. So I see that Christine is in the house. Good morning, Christine. Glad to have you here. And Neshi, hello. Glad to have you here. And of course, what do you know, Rob? No worries. We'll catch you on the flip side during this crazy day. That's great. And so, we are here to kind of get the word out about how do we heal ourselves. That's what my work tends to be all about. My spiritual mission is to heal the healers. And so some of that is through teaching, giving you the tools and the information that you need to help you on your spiritual journey. And the cool thing about these broadcasts is they're recorded. So even if you don't see it live, you can go back and look at it when you're needing it. I recently had a client who was working on releasing cords with other people. And I had 2 different shows that were on that. And so they were able to do not only listen to the information, but they were able to do the healing meditations on their own in their own time. And so it sort of expedited the work that we did together because they'd already been working on it on themselves. Isn't that great? So yes, thank you, Stephanie, for sharing all the info about the magazine and about my services. I really appreciate you and all that you do for Star Nations. You really go above and beyond. So thank you. And welcome, Pat. Glad to have you in the house. And so I'm going to remind all of you, most of you have been here before. So if you could like and share this broadcast, it really helps us get out there in Facebook land and allows us to reach people who might be in need of this show, this healing. And whether you share it to your page or you share it to a group or just send it to the link to a friend who you think maybe would like to tune in, all of that helps sort of send the energy forward. It sends the vibration out there that we're here as a spiritual community to heal the planet. And we can only do that one person at a time, and it begins with us. So what can you do today? Well, you could help like and share the broadcast in case somebody needs it. So thank you for that in advance. So I'm going to switch out my my banners there on the bottom. I'm always surprised what color the banner is because I choose it a week before, or my team says, choose this. And I never understand why I'm choosing that in the moment. And today it was like, I only had blue shirts left that were clean as it's my day to do laundry. So they must have known that the blue writing and the blue shirt were going to go great together. I appreciate that team. So today, like I said, it's about us working on our energy to be at a fuller frequency. And one of the distinctions that comes down through my team that I work with, and many of you have read the articles at Star Nation, so you understand that I often will channel information from the Ancient One. And the Ancient One is part of the Great Council. And the Great Council, if you can imagine, or that there are, some ascended beings from not only this plane, but other planes and other planets that work together. I kind of think of them as like a United Nations for our spiritual health and well-being. And so they have been really clear about how to help us ascend. A lot of people talk about ascension, moving the vibration of the planet up to a higher frequency, which is quite true. But the difficulty comes when people are thinking in a sort of an ego-based place. They think of things as higher and lower, and higher being better and lower being worse, which can be true, but it's not always true. But my team talks about us moving to a fuller frequency. So we're not dismissing the lower frequencies within us, within the planet. We're acknowledging them. We are understanding that those vibrations teach us things about how to hold ourselves in a fuller way. And when we hold our energy in a fuller way, we are holding all of the vibrations. So rather than, they often will show me like a radio. And on the radio dial, right, you can dial to, these channels are here and these channels aren't there. And, which one do you listen to on a regular basis? It's really what resonates with you. You listen to the music you like on the radio because that matches who you are. And so there's no better or worse station. It's a matter of energetic preference, right? But when we are able to appreciate music and vibrations in multiple stations, then we are more like the radio and less like a station. And so as we do this energetic shifting that we're doing on the planet, it's inviting us to hold more love, more compassion. And as we do that, it's not better love, it's more. And that love and energy is based on the principle of unconditional love. And so that's a thing that we struggle with here on the earth plane, because one of the things that comes up is that there's a lot of judgment energy. There's good and bad and right and wrong. And in that polarity, it's very difficult to hold the fullness of unconditional love because, frankly, we have conditions that we place on things. And not that that's a bad thing. But this is inviting us to love more openly, love more fully. And it begins with ourselves. So when we are thinking about trying to improve ourselves, trying to move forward on our spiritual journey, the way to do that is to really release any old baggage we may be carrying. And that happens because, we've got some old memories or old beliefs that we're really fond of. And so we carry them everywhere with us. It's kind of like our personal blankie, right? When we were a kid, or your little stuffed animal, right? And so that sensation of we carry some of our things because they bring us comfort. Doesn't mean they're the best thing for us, but we bring them as comfort. And so, old memories are comfortable because we're used to them. They're part of who we were, which is the foundation of who we are. And when we think of that, we can get all stressed out and worry about the past, or we can bring it with us into the future, or we can kind of lovingly put it on the shelf, or put it in the closet for us to take out whenever we want a quick moment of remembrance. And that helps to lighten our energetic load. So think about what things that maybe you're carrying around with you that are heavy and that are weighing you down. I think about, I don't know if you guys seen all of the, for me, it seems crazy, but there's all these people that have been going up to Mount Everest. And it used to be this very, it was the Mecca for hikers and climbers. You spent years practicing and honing your skills to really move to this high summit. And now it's become kind of commercialized. So there's actually like adventure groups that are taking people up there who may or may not have very much training, and they're, allowing a lot of people to go up at once. So there's been some pictures of like hundreds of people waiting in line at the top of Everest to take their picture, their selfie, to prove they've done it. And then there are a lot of people who are not making it back down, because it's not just about the climb, right? It's not just about going up, but it's being able to come back down. And that is part of the ascension process. It's not just to go up and hang out at the peak. It's to be able to envision and be the whole mountain. Because there are times when you're reaching people that, are afraid to climb, right? So does that mean you stand at the peak of the mountain and talk down to them? Or do you come and you meet them where they're comfortable? That's part of being fuller rather than higher. I hope that makes sense. So I know a bunch of people checked in, so I want to say hi. Hi, Pat. Woohoo. Nice to have you. Hello, Vicky. I'm so glad you were able to tune in. Brilliant. Bobby. Good morning. Good morning. So, yeah, it's this really interesting thing that's happening, that people talk about the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension, and as if it's this pinnacle goal. And it's great to hang out there. I will admit that. But a lot of our soul lessons are here on planet Earth. And because they're here on planet Earth, we need to be here and we need to be present to complete them. And part of that is, how do we, help this very physical body that holds our beautiful divine spirit? How do we help it navigate the shifting energetic terrain that's going on? And part of that is releasing the denser energy that doesn't serve us. Oh my goodness, some more people are here. Good morning, Judy. Glad to see you. Hi, Dad. Glad you're here from California. I wasn't sure quite where you were right now, so that's great to see. Glad you are here. So when we are talking about, ascension, or we're talking about, the shifting frequency on the planet, because there's a lot of shifting energy going on right now. There has been a lot of weather shifting, so that the weather is not quite the same as it used to be. There's a lot more, sort of natural things occurring that seem strange. And for those of you who pay attention to the animal species, there's a lot more white animals that are showing up. There's even some animals that are showing up that haven't been around in a while. I was so happy to see, there was a beautiful photo of a black panther in Kenya, and they haven't had one in many, many, many years. And so it was a big, it was like a return of the animal presence. And so this is all part of the energy that's shifting on the planet. And how do we navigate it? How do we surf it? Well, you can't surf if you're carrying around rocks in your pockets, right? So think about what kind of things you might have been holding on to that are a little heavy, that are dense, or that make you feel heavy, or make your heart heavy. One of the things that we often are encouraged to look at is, how do we do relationships? Because some relationships can be very draining on our energy system. And when we are trying to hold a higher, fuller, brighter frequency, some of these relationships may not be healthy for us anymore. And this is a really, really difficult thing for us to work through and to let go of, because we have all of these fond memories. But as we stretch and we grow, so do others. And we don't always do that in the same direction. And so what was healthy for us at one time might not be healthy for us any longer. And those are often some of the biggest rocks that we carry. The other rocks that we carry are, anything from our past that really impacted us. Our trauma, our memories, some of them, the ones that fill us up, those ones often will help propel us forwards. But if it causes us to feel bad, or to complain, or to feel less than, then maybe it's time to take a look at whether you want to hold that vibration any longer. And I know that sounds easier said than done. And that's what this work is all about. This is what healing yourself is about. It's about releasing what weighs heavily on your spirit, and what moves your energy away from your heart. And because when we are able to hold our heart energy at its fullest, brightest vibration, then everything around us gets lighter and brighter. And we move our energy field back to a place where our life feels magical. And we don't have to feel bad about that. It's an interesting thing. I've had healers who feel bad because things are going good for them. Because they're so used to struggle that they don't know what to do when they aren't struggling. And so they actually end up creating struggle for themselves without realizing it. And sometimes, I'm sure you've been in a relationship like that too, where, things are going great. And, you're like, is this too good to be true? And then as soon as you say that, boom, you start to create all these circumstances that, cause you to have to reevaluate, which is very difficult. So I'm seeing a couple of my heart feels heavy. Yeah. Now, the first thing you want to do with that is it yours? Is the heaviness in your heart yours? We all have disappointment. We all have sadness. And our inner child who takes residence in our heart, if you aren't playing with your child, if you're not having moments where you're bringing joy and excitement in, the child gets bored and cranky, and they're sort of heavy sulking going on in the heart. But we have old grief and sadness and disappointment that we're holding on to, because we get caught in the hurt, and it's hard to realign ourselves in trust. And it's hard also when we lose somebody, or lose a loved one, or one of our our pet babies. Then we sometimes reminisce about the past, which is fine for a while, but we don't want to be stuck in the sadness of what we've lost, but instead take time to really focus on the joy that we had with the one who is no longer with us in physical form. We may not be able to see them, but we can often feel their presence. And when we're feeling their presence, their energy is lighter and it's brighter because they've released all the old stuff that weighed them down. And that's part of the enlightenment, is when you drop the things that are no longer light in terms of heaviness, and in terms of brightness. And it doesn't mean that, we dismiss the dark, because there's a lot to be said for what is lurking in the shadows, because sometimes what's hiding in the dark is not bad, but it's a part of us that we were unwilling to see, unwilling to be, unwilling to unearth. And all of that gets caught under heavy energy as well. Phew. Tough. Heavier conversation, right? Sorry about that. Well, not sorry. Just know how that can be. So Vicky is saying, this is such a tough one, as I find my 19-year-old's ASD and sons drain me. It's extremely hard, but he's my son and I love him. It's not his fault, but I'm his carer 24/7. Oh, yeah. So this is a boundary thing, my dear. We love our children. We're not going to stop loving our children, but do we allow ourselves to be drained by our children? And this comes with setting good boundaries. And, I have 2 out of 3 of my children living in my house right now, who are both 30 and over, 30 and 32. So it's it's been even more crucial for me to have boundaries, because, they come home and they go back into, expecting mom mode from teenage years, right? And that's not healthy for them. That's not healthy for me. And so I've been setting little boundaries that are maintainable for them. Like, we are all sharing a bathroom, and it is one of the things, being able to release energy in the shower or the tub, and just sort of allow the water energy to heal. It's a very spiritual thing for me. And the bathroom had gotten really clogged with everybody's stuff. And I just said, look, you're all welcome to be here, but this is my bathroom and everybody's stuff needs to be out of the bathroom. Bring it in when you're using it and bring it out. But I need the sanctity of this bathroom again. And really, it took almost nothing except me saying it. And that shifted the vibration for me in the bathroom. And, the energy around, when our children have, things going on, they want mom and dad to help. And it's really this practice of learning how to hold space, keeping your high heart wide open, allowing your high heart to be the one in connection and communication with your children, but allowing yourself some space to be you. And so I spend a lot of time sort of calling in Polly Joe's energy versus just my mom archetype, because my mom archetype is going to swoop in and take care of her babies. But that's not going to help them learn how to stand on their own, right? I can be the counselor, I can be the teacher, and those will give me a little more energetic distance, if that makes sense. But thank you for sharing. It's been very, very, very hard. Yes, so I've never had joy in childhood or in adult life, as I believe my mom, brother, and son have autism. So it's been very controlling, rigid, strict routines. I want to be free and live life, but due to my son, it's still very hard. Absolutely, sweetheart. Hi, Barbie. Glad to see you. So with this, just tapping into the spectrum piece, they do have to have that strict routine, right? Or they really have a difficult time. The strict routine is about boundaries. So not only the strict routine, but some strict boundaries on your space, your time, your space. And this is reclaiming space. I basically said, look, I need some more space, more privacy. I love everybody. I want you to be here, but I need to take care of me so I can help take care of you. So basically took control, have been taking control over one of the rooms in the house and setting up a boundary that it's my space, and that to enter that space, you have to ask permission. And I know with people who are on the spectrum, sometimes that's a difficult process. But the people who are autistic are teaching us how to be multidimensional. They're teaching us how to move between dimensions, because they are, when I work on them for energy healing, what I've experienced, I don't want to say it in a general fashion, when I've worked with people on the autism spectrum, they are in more than one dimension at the same time. And because of that, to function in this earth plane, they have to have very strong connection and grounding in the earth plane. And they often will attach to people who are really grounded to ground them for them. So teaching them some ways to anchor their focus and their attention and their energy can be helpful. And they are holding more frequencies. Like they have the radio, but they don't know how to use the dial. And that's why there's so many autistic people on the planet, is because they've got the radio with all sorts of stations, and they have a hard time figuring out which station is which. And that's sort of helping us with the evolution of our vibration. And unfortunately, they've chosen a really difficult path. And those of us who have chosen to be parents or teachers or healers of those people, they're here to teach us as much as we're here to teach them. I hope that makes sense. Wow. Different conversation than I was expecting, but good, very good. All right, I'm going to check in because I saw Jackie had posted something. Jackie said, I'm definitely feeling the weight in my heart right now. Lots of heavy emotions happening. And yes, they are mine. Well, good. Good that you know that you're yours. Just really focus in on what are they connected to, and is there a way for you to start lightening that energy? Yes, Vicky, he's on every level. Yep. Perfect. I'm glad you're hearing what I'm saying. It is the I feel like there's a lot of planetary grief happening right now. There's a lot of injustice that's happening, that's impacting a lot of people, in whether it's happening in personal relationships, whether it's happening in government, if it's happening on the planet. There are a lot of things that are hurting our heart, and it causes us to have these heavy emotions and heavy grief. And when we do that, we go into places of doubt. And in the doubt, we are disconnected from divine source. We collapse our crown chakra slightly every time we aren't fully open in trust. And when we have doubt about circumstances or people, or whether we're going to be supported or not. I mean, all of those things just sort of run together, right? And what is happening is that in all of this heavy energy, we're being encouraged to find our true self. What is me? How do I heal me? Because only when we do that can we start to heal the vibration and the frequency of the planet. And then we're doing it for everyone and every being who lives here with us. When I was talking about the people going up to Everest, right? Hundreds of people going up at a time, and it being treated like it's a tourist attraction. And then there's not that care and sanctity that came from ascending this beautiful mountain. We're also doing the same thing in the depths of the seas, right? So how do we create a fuller vibration? How do we get ourselves in a place where we're more comfortable with who we are? How do we quiet the critic that lives inside of us, so that it stops saying negative things to us, to hurt our feelings, right? Because those are all things that really weigh us down energetically. And how about disappointment? Sometimes we're disappointed in ourselves for trusting that person again, or we're disappointed in someone else for saying they would do something for us and then they don't. Are we disappointed in ourselves because, we had a holiday weekend, right? And maybe you didn't eat on your diet. And so are you blaming and shaming because, I shouldn't have eaten this, or I shouldn't have done this? Those shoulds actually attach energetically to our shoulders. So the should and the shoulders, because the shoulders hold all of our burdens and our responsibilities. And when that weight's too heavy, our shoulders collapse and we kind of cave in because we're trying to protect our heart, right? So it's why all those yoga poses and things are to open this up so that our heart has room to breathe. And then when our heart has room to breathe, then think about how much easier it is for our lungs to breathe. And all of that also happens when we're in a lighter, brighter vibration. If you talk to people who are depressed, they say, I remember when I was depressed, how heavy I felt, how heavy the energy around me felt. I felt smothered or drowning sometimes by the energy that was around me. And that energy that was around me in my auric layers was also inside of me. It was sort of darkening my inner spark. It was, putting a cloud over my sun, an eclipse, so that I was having trouble feeling where the lightness began and where the darkness ended. So how do we get there? How do we focus our energy on our heart? Well, it's about calling in the fuller vibrations. And the fuller vibrations, some people may experience them as higher. I experience it as, instead of being a narrow tube of energy, I become more of a sphere, an orb. And it all centers around our soul point within our body, and connecting to our high heart. And that high heart is the heart that holds unconditional love. And unconditional love is so difficult because it all depends on our viewpoint of the divine. Do we believe the divine is a being or beings that send and bring unconditional love? Or do we believe that the divine being is going to judge us for our behavior and how we've done as we've been learning our lessons? Because they cannot be one and the same. You cannot have a judge divine being and a loving unconditional divine being. They're two separate entities. And what happens is that most of us believe in a divine being who carries unconditional love no matter what for everyone. But somehow within us, we're holding on to the antiquated version of a divine being who's like checking a list and making sure that we were good. Like only the good get presents at Christmas, right? If you're on the naughty list, you don't get it. So that's a judgmental version of Santa Claus. But that there are people who still believe that. And I'm not saying that either is right or wrong. It's just that they hold a different frequency. And so in that dilemma that we have going on within us, the judgmental either or is in the duality of the third dimension that we are living in currently. And if we're trying to move to a place of unconditional love and acceptance for all people, all beings, all things, we're going through this struggle between the two right now. And we're seeing it within ourselves, but we're seeing it on a global scale. And it's our growing pains, right? Our energetic and spiritual growing pains, but we can only control our own. And to do that, we focus on any energy in our body that feels dense or heavy or creates physical pain. If you have physical pain in your body, that's a collection of dense energy that no longer matches your vibration. So when we release those dense energy pockets, we release ourselves from pain. And we become more in resonance with our being at the time. Phew. Lots of information. Oh, so welcome, Nancy. Glad you're here. Nancy came to the sanctuary and we made some beautiful magical wands, which is another way to lift and fill out your vibration, which is great. So glad you guys are still here. So, trying to keep up with it as the channel is wide open. So when I asked my team about how to explain the difference, how to expand to fuller energy, what is a way for people to really get a visual or get an understanding and want to shift to lighter energy. So my team had me pull 2 cards. And I pulled them out of the Ask Your Guides Oracle deck. Sorry about the light reflecting on it. This is a Sonia Choquette deck. Oh, there you go. There's better. So the Ask Your Guides deck. These 2 cards are from this deck. So the first card is Where Are We Now? As like a planet. And so the first card is Suffering. And this is part of the divine teaching. So there's a lot of people who are going through things that feel heavy, that feel like suffering. And we are learning lessons from this vibration and frequency. We're learning that it's not okay to be treated a certain way. We're learning that it's not okay to treat others a certain way. We're learning that how does it feel when we're not treated with love and kindness, so that we can then turn around and treat others with love and kindness, because we don't want them to feel that same heavy suffering energy. That's where we've been. But we can choose not to stay in that. So where we are going is we're moving to victory. And again, the victory is the divine helpers. So your spiritual team and all the spiritual teams on the planet are helping us try to become victorious in our own life and in our own earth plane. And victorious is that energy of being in the flow and having accolades and everybody being able to be in the spotlight. No competition. We all just get to shine our own light. And this is where we are heading. We're moving out of suffering and into the light. But we have to choose, or we get to choose, to release our suffering or not. So we're going to do a meditation, a very quick meditation, to become aware of where in our body we carry our densest energy. And some of you already know it's at your heart, but you may be surprised at other places where you are holding dense energy right this minute. And we will invite, as we're recognizing where we're holding dense energy, we're going to invite it to just simply dissipate, to dissolve and release. You don't have to know what is heavy and what is dense. You can just see the energy break apart and allow space for your energy to be lighter. And that's the cool thing. We don't have to know everything. We can just allow it. So let's get to it. Time to expand a little bit today. Stretch our energy a little bit and feel a little fuller. So let's start by just really taking a couple of deep breaths and allowing our energy to just relax and ground and connect. And I'm going to make some clearing noises, helping the group release anything that's dense or heavy or stuck. And we're going to invite our grounding cord to expand, to become wider and thicker and fuller as it moves down our body, down our legs, down our feet, down through all the layers of the earth, all the way to the molten lava center. And so as the energy is going down, just imagine that grounding cord just gently stretching wider and wider and fuller, so that you can be even more anchored, even more room in this cord to release even more energy that is dense and stuck. And we set the intention that this healing meditation is for the good of all and harm to none, including ourselves. And really call in the divine, however you perceive that, however you connect to the divine. Just really invite that energy in to your presence, to your being. And if you're feeling anxious or nervous, just ask for a bubble of protection to be placed around you, made up of love and light. And invite in your spiritual team, all your angels, your guides, your ancestors, the star beings, the animals, all divine, of the highest, fullest, and brightest vibrations available to you in this moment. And we begin by calling the divine energy in. Let's bring it in through the crown chakra at the top of our head. And we set the intention that as the divine energy is coming in, it is clearing anything that is ready to go. It is showing us any place where our energy is heavy or dense. So as we move into the third chakra, interesting, into the third eye, start up at the top. You may notice there's pressure in your head. And that can be from thoughts, beliefs, patterns that you've held on to. It can be energy where you would like some clarity, or any ways that you have tried to control your feelings, your spiritual gifts, or your intuition. And just inviting room for that energy to expand and dissolve what's not working. And really open up your physical sight and your psychic sight to be able to see things more clearly and to be seen more clearly by others. And moving it down and through your ears, notice if you have pressure. Are you blocking hearing in some way or being heard? And one side is your ancestors and one side is your spiritual team. So just take notice and invite that to release. And moving down through your jaw and the tension from controlling your life, your circumstances, and just allowing it to release for a moment. And moving into that beautiful throat and really allowing some space for your authentic truth to expand, to have more room for your self-expression, more room for your energy to move into your authentic being. And making room for clarity on what you speak about, what you love to express. And having people around you who do the same. And letting the energy come down, noticing how it feels on your shoulders, letting any of those burdens, responsibilities, stress to dissolve just in this moment. Notice your spine and how supported it feels, how relaxed it is. Again, sending divine energy anywhere where you feel pain or tightness. And moving to that beautiful heart. And just taking a moment to honor any heaviness that is sitting here, residing here. And inviting the heart to expand so that there's room for more love, acceptance, and compassion, and empathy to come in. Inviting the divine to fill up the nooks and crannies so that you feel loved and supported. And now moving down to the third chakra, where apparently we have quite a bit of dense energy. And just noticing, being aware, is it central to your stomach? Is it off to one side or another? Which organs feel uncomfortable? What part of your back? And knowing that as you allow the energy to dissolve, you're dissolving old fear, resentment, frustration, anger, even a righteous anger. You're also dissolving anxiety and worry and overwhelm and stress in all its vibrations. And any energy that is collapsing your sense of self, impacting your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-confidence. And releasing any energy of blaming others or blaming yourself. You're just noticing and releasing your reaction energy to circumstances and people, past, present, and future. Making space for your divine light to shine brightly in your own unique way. And moving down into the second chakra and feeling any ways that your lower back is tight, your relationship energy is tight or squeezed. And just really making room for you to have flow in all aspects of your life. And sending healing energy anywhere in your body where you're feeling this tightness, this connection. Because it may not be right where we're talking. You know, your shoulder can hurt while we're working on your second chakra, and that's fine. It just means they're connected. And moving down into the root chakra beneath our tailbone. And just any other energy that isn't in the vibration of love. Anything that is heavy, dense, compressed, painful. And really releasing anybody's energy that is not yours. remembering that it is important to be within your own energy field, to feel the fullness and vibration for your own expansion, for your own healing. We're meant to do it for ourselves first. And allowing all that energy that we've chosen to release to go way down into the earth. Composting back into the original energy of creation. And now allowing the divine feminine energy from the earth to come up and fill in all those places with light and love and nurturing support up through our feet and our legs and our hips, our pelvic floor, and just really allowing ourselves to be held in love and compassion, even when we have difficulty doing it for ourselves. And just really bringing that energy up into your organs, filling you. And allowing it to move up into your heart and your lungs and your rib cage and your whole spinal column. Down your arms and your shoulders. Really allowing space for the heart to fill with the fullest, brightest vibration available to you in this moment. And up through your throat, your neck, your third eye, all the way up to the crown, and surrounding you and repairing and restoring your aura in any ways that is held on to extra energy, where energy is leaked in from tears, releasing the extra baggage in the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, and the mental layers of our aura. And really allowing the energy of healing to move out through our past lives and our karmic debt as well. Sometimes that can weigh us down. And just take a moment to take a couple of deep breaths and really bring yourself back to this moment, back to present time. Great. Glad you guys are back with me. I hope you enjoyed the healing. So that's how you can release the dense energy. It's how you can really step into a fuller version of yourself. And every Wednesday night at 7 on my show, Soul Connections, I connect you with your soul and help you do this same type of meditation, release anything that is keeping you from your fullest and brightest self. And I also pull cards on Wednesdays for divine messages and channeled energy. So I hope you will join us for that. I want to remind you guys, that you can always, contact me. It's right in the comments for my services. But what's really cool is I'm coming to Star Nations Academy June 14th I think it is, yes, June 14th through the 16th. It's in Toma, Wisconsin. And you can come and do this work in depth with me for 2.5 days. And I mean, what the price of the workshop is a little more than what I charge for an hour of working with me independently. So imagine what you're going to get in spending, 2.5 days with me, working on releasing. And it's called Awakening Your True Potential, because that's what makes us feel heavy, makes us feel sad, depressed, is when we aren't fully ourselves. And wouldn't it be cool to be able to get some breathing room and some space for your own self-expression? So there's still some space in there. And even while I'm there, I'm going to have a few private sessions available. So if you would like a private one-on-one in person with me, you can book that too through Star Nations Academy. And so, make sure that if you need some extra love and attention, give it to yourself first. And if not, reach out to people who you trust and people who have your best, highest vibration at heart. Because it may be my mission to heal the healers, but it's also some other people's too. So with that, you guys, I hope, I'm going to put this up real quickly. Neshi's like, here's the link for my class. I would really love to see some more of you guys in person. I don't do these workshops very often. And so it's a privilege when they do occur. So I hope you guys will think about joining us. As I fly into Wisconsin from Massachusetts to come see you. Would love to have you in person. And join Neshi later today for the live card draw. I think she's still doing that today at 3, and for communications at home tonight at 8. And if you want to see me again, I'll be here tomorrow at 7 for Soul Connections. And with that, you guys, I hope you have a blessed rest of your day. And enjoy the fullness that we created, even if it's just for the moment.